Hey everybody, I think I'm live now. So it's been a little while since I've made a live video, and I'm doing some medicine making today with St. John's wort. So I thought I'd share a little bit about this awesome plant and show you what I'm making. You'll have to excuse my goats if you can hear them. They like to scream and let me know that they need more food, even though they have tons and tons of leaves and greens to eat, so they're not deprived by any means, but hopefully they don't scream too much for this video. So, well, I will get into it. I made some notes for myself so I don't go off rambling. I tend to do that about planty, naturey things. So this is St. John's wort. Nice and fresh, beautiful, bright yellow flowers, pretty green leaves, grows about this high or so. I have a nice big bunch here also that I'm working on getting through. But look how pretty these are. You might maybe not know how to identify them from far away, but once you get up close, they are pretty easy to identify, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to want to know how to identify this because it grows commonly in a lot of places. Midsummer is generally when it is at peakness, or peak harvesting time, and I'll tell you why also in a second. But when you get up close to this plant, two ways that you can identify it when it's in its flowering stage, or actually before its flowering stage for this one, you're just going to pick one of the leaves and you'll hold it up to the light. This isn't the best spot. You hold it up into the light, the sun, or a bright light, and you'll see tiny little holes, and its scientific name is Hypericum perforatum. And if you think about that, perforations, you'll see these tiny little holes all throughout the leaf, kind of like perforations. So that is one way to identify. And then this is the coolest part of this plant, and this is why herbal medicine is really fun to make, especially with kids, because this shows a little bit of plant magic chemistry going on. So what you're going to do is, I prefer to harvest this plant right before it flowers, although it can be difficult to find it if you don't see the bright yellow flowers. But basically, you're going to take a few of the blooms and pick them off, and you'll very gently kind of squeeze the leaves and the flowers, and you'll see that you get a nice pretty red stain. I know it's kind of hard to see from that angle. Let's see if we can get another one here. But what you'll see is this red stain, and since I've been handling it for a little bit, my hands are starting to get stained with that. But in person it looks a lot more red. I really hope you could see that. But that's its active constituent called hypericin, and that's the medicine that we're after. So you do want to use this plant fresh to get all of the medicinal components out, because this hypericin ends up drying out. Ooh, this was a good one. Here we go. Nice and red stain on my fingers. So you do want to use it fresh because the hypericin is not present in the dried plant. So be wary of that. But so here we go. What I've been doing is, you really just kind of want to use the top blooms, like I said, so you get that nice, fresh, rich red medicine from the hypericin. So what I've done for the video to save time is I have been cutting off the fresh blooms to use as medicine. Try to get as much of the green out as you can. And like I said, I like to use the blooms when they are not quite bloomed yet. So yes, the fresh ones with the yellow are great, but you'll see these ones have not quite bloomed yet, and those tend to be where you're going to find the most amount of medicine. There we go, more staining. So, all right, so why do we want to use St. John's wort? It's actually one of the most popular plants used for anxiety and depression, and it does that because it helps boost serotonin levels and dopamine levels in the brain. So this plant is a really great one to make some medicine for those of you that struggle with that sort of thing. But also in the winter, most of us experience the SAD disorder, the seasonal affective disorder, because we have less sun, we're outside less, fresh air, all of those things. So this is a great one to take internally for depression and anxiety. And something that I've already actually been working on is a St. John's wort infused oil. And so this isn't something I also made prior to the video, but as you can see, this is nice and full of fresh flowers, and I have it filled to the tippy top with oil. And this is important when you're making medicines or oil infusions with fresh plant material. I don't want to go into it too much with all this detail, but just make sure that when you're using fresh plants in oil infusions, you fill up your jar all the way so there is no airspace. That is what will prevent any kind of mold growth. So this infused oil, I sell out of it every year. I sell it as a body oil, and it's great for overall inflammation and, you know, painful muscles and joints, but specifically also for neuropathy. And if you have any kind of like nerve issues, great for that, pain relieving, and helps stimulate circulation and all of that. So I am hoping to have 10 bottles for sale this year. I really go off of just how much I can actually harvest out in the wild and get fresh all at the same time to make enough oil. So that is our oil infusion of St. John's wort. And this one I'm excited to show you here. So this would actually be a topical use. So this is called a liniment. So basically you're using rubbing alcohol to extract the medicinal properties of the medicine. So this is something that you would use topically on wounds or cuts or stings or things like that. But you could also make a tincture with, you know, alcohol that you want to consume. Of course, you don't want to consume rubbing alcohol. So get yourself a vodka or Everclear or something like that. And that would be used internally for anxiety and depression. So I just wanted to do this for the sake of the video because I want you to see the beautiful red medicine being pulled out of these blooms. And the alcohol does it really quickly, as opposed to the oil infusion. It does take a couple weeks to start to see the oil turn a nice deep red, ruby red color. So let's get this baby nice and full, and hopefully in the time here we'll start to see some red being extracted. Okay, and you do want to be mindful that when you're picking wild plants or harvesting, that you know what you're harvesting, of course, but also that you're harvesting from clean areas. So, you know, not along busy roadways, not in areas that you know have been sprayed maybe with pesticides or something. So try to avoid that as much as you can. You know, we don't want to be infusing all of the pollutants and toxins into our medicine, right? So I think I might have overestimated how quickly this does happen, but I promise you this is going to turn a nice, beautiful red color. Let's just give it a second and see how quick it pulls out. But yeah, so that's a little bit about St. John's wort. It's such a fun, beautiful plant, and is very abundant in many areas in this time of year. I'm more south, I'm in Tennessee, so if you're more north, you might have to wait another few weeks to see these in full bloom, or see this plant in full bloom. But it is so beautiful. It's traditional medicine. It can be used for a lot of different things, like I just touched on: anxiety, depression, topical pain relief and nerve issues, topically for wounds, cuts, bites, stings, that sort of thing. I am most excited to make a tincture with it and to take it in the winter, because I definitely get more depressed in the winter because I can't be out foraging and doing all the fun nature things. So I'm definitely planning on making my own medicine with St. John's wort. And I think, let's see, I think we're starting to get a little bit of the medicine extracted here. And what I'll do is, since it's going to take a few more minutes, I'm going to post a before and after picture of the clear liquid and then what it looks like once the medicine is extracted. And it is so cool. Like I said, it's like a little plant magic experiment, especially with kids, to see it turn from clear to red. Very cool. Very immediate proof of the physical medicine being pulled out into the alcohol. So, well, I hope you enjoyed a little bit about this beautiful plant, St. John's wort. And let me know if you have any questions, if you want me to share more. And I will have the St. John's wort infused body oil ready for sale in about 4 to 6 weeks or so. They do sell out quick, so if you want to pre-order and get your name in for one of those, let me know, and we will reserve one for you. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful day, and let me know if you enjoyed this video. I'll do more lives if that's something that you like and appreciate from me. So, all right, have a beautiful day, guys. Bye.